Alright, we're finally back on redoing K1SVC's Hallicrafters S-40. Got delayed on it for a couple reasons. One of the primary reasons is I was redoing that S-40B that you would have saw in the first video on this for my son Brad, and everything went really well until we went to fire it up and align it, and I just could not get enough audio out of it. And I messed around on it, asked some questions on the Hallicrafters mailing list, and finally one of the best books I've ever come across is this Elements of Radio Servicing by William Marcus and Alex Levy. This is the second edition. I picked it up at a second-hand store for $4, and it's the best $4 I spent. I don't even know that I paid $4 for it. Usually when I go to the second-hand store, they look at it and they reduce it even more. So anyway, went through this excellent troubleshooting book. I started working on back from the audio, the second AF circuit. That was fine. Went to the first AF circuit, and that's where the problem was. Started doing some voltage checks on it, and it wasn't getting power. And what it ended up being is this one's going to be replaced with an original one, but on the other one I had the original one, so I cut it open, restuffed it with modern day electrolytics. In fact, this is what it looked like inside. You can see there's a lot of paper and stuff like that, but new modern electrolytics, and that wasn't the problem restuffing it. I restuffed it fine. The problem is when I hooked it back up, I didn't hook a couple wires to the correct terminals, and so the second AF or first AF was not getting any power. Boy, as soon as I got that corrected, that thing, I had trouble aligning it because it was hard. When you align it, you're supposed to turn the volume all the way up. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it down low enough that it wasn't blowing me out of the shop. But we did get it aligned, and Brad's played with it a little bit, and it seems to be a really good performer. So enough about that. Here we got Arthur's. Or start by stripping the tubes out here, take the knobs off the front here, and take the front panel off, and then we're strip everything completely off the chassis. This will spend some serious time in the ultrasonic cleaner and get that cleaned up and looking like new. I think these are going to be alright. This one's a little bit loose, but I think it's going to be okay. We'll get these all cleaned up, or have to repaint the top and bottom of that. Probably take it out and bead blast that and repaint it. I'm hoping to just use a little bit of elbow grease and some stuff and be able to shine up the chassis. Speaker looks good. Interesting thing on this, in doing research on it, the dials are so discolored. I was trying to do some research on it and found out in the original S-40s, some of them actually had white dials. I have procured from Radio Days a couple replacement dials, and of course all they have is green. So I was a little worried about that, but when you turn it over and look down here, you can see they were originally green. They just discolored that much. So we'll get those off. Underneath here, it's already been recapped with these good Sprague caps. So I'll go through and check those, or check all the resistors, replace what needs to be replaced. This obviously is going to need to be replaced. And then it's kind of interesting between the S-40 and the S-40B. Look at this night, how they dress that wiring harness. It really does look nice. By the time they got to the S-40B, there was no dress wiring harness. They just ran point to point and stuff like that. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it is kind of interesting. So I take this out. I've got a blower that I use, and we'll blow that all off. Hopefully get some of the whatever this stuff is off the wiring, and get it all working, align it, put it back together, and we'll have to redo the front on this, just like I've done on the other ones, and make our new lettering and stuff. So why don't we get started? We'll start pulling tubes, and we'll get the front off here, and just start stripping tonight. So here we go. This is a interesting item. It got one of the older, it's got an adapter on it. Now the adapter seemed to be a little, I have to re-glue that, test it, make sure it's alright. Our check on that, let me see, what is this? This is a 5W4. Check on it, check, make sure the tube's good, obviously. And we might have to fix that adapter, re-glue that adapter, make sure the wiring's good. Tubes don't look in too bad a shape. We've got all our tubes out. And let's get the knobs off of it first. Good, it was just loose on there. I was a little afraid that there was something wrong with the pitch control, but I think it'll be alright. Alright, got that last knob off. Ended up having to get a little bit better hex wrench. Now we'll go ahead and take these off. I don't need to take that one, those two off until I get the front off. By the way, before I forget, I did get my original call sign back, applied to the FCC for it. I got it when I was 15, back in 1978. And I don't know why I waited so long, but I did reapply it and got it, so instead of being KB0 ASQ, I'm WD0 DXD now. So thought I'd throw that out there. I don't know that it's that big of a deal to anybody, but just in case it caused some confusion for anybody. Alright, so the front case is loose. Now before I go any further, we got the speaker, and the speaker mounts a little bit, or connects a little bit different than the one on the S-40B. It's got this thing here. Almost like a plug. Let me see if that's what it is. Should have taken the care of that first, but that's certainly what it looks like. Let's okay. So there's the plug. Voila. Got the front part out. Interesting. It's made out of brass. That might be interesting to reproduce that. We'll see. I'm sure we can figure something out. We got the original lens that was in there. You can see that got pretty well deformed, but that shouldn't be too hard. The only thing I'm not real sure about is there's some numbers, red numbers across here to tell you what band you're looking at. So I'll finish disassembling the front panel a little bit later. Set that aside. Obviously you can see the dials. Okay, so one thing I want to do is I want to take some good pictures of how it's strung, and when I go to take these apart I want to take good pictures of them. The dial string, even though on the S-40B, even though I had the dial string stuff from the manual, it didn't go exactly like they seem to indicate. Another difference between the S-40B and the S-40 is this has got on the band spread, this has got a nice flywheel on there for that. So let's start by taking these off. Hopefully that won't give us too much trouble. Then we'll start to document some of this stuff and get the rest of the stuff on the top removed. I'm going to pause right now so I can find my good screwdriver. Doesn't seem to be where it's supposed to be. Okay, it wasn't as far as I thought it would be. That didn't come off too hard. Really the hardest thing I'm going to on this is trying to figure out how to remove this to get the new dial on. Set that over there. Okay. So we got that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my phone and take some pictures of this, so hopefully it won't be so hard this time to reassemble it. Alright, now to make this a little bit easier, we're going to replace this cord with a grounded cord. So I'm just going to go ahead and clip this off, throw it in the trash. Make it a little bit easier to swing this thing around. Okay. Turn on the soldering iron. And the desoldering iron, which apparently has gotten unplugged. Interesting. Okay. Go ahead and start with this. Straight off here. I usually restring everything when I redo these. Just don't want to spend 40 hours working on a radio or something like that and try to reuse the old string and then have it go bad on the user in a couple of years. Alright, that off. This is interesting. Where's the, oh, let's see, they tied the string together in there. I'll get my trusty pocket knife out here. That's knotted. Comes up, knots up in here. Oh. Very interesting. I suppose this will cut that. Oh, it does. That is very interesting how that was tied. It's like there's two pieces of string on that. Okay, so we got that. Unhook this. While we're at this, let's see if we can get this broken bulb out. There we go. Okay. So now what I want to do here, so I'm going to go ahead and take pictures. Now those are moving pretty easy. Shouldn't be too hard. Just got to clean it, like I said a little while, in the ultrasonic cleaner, and that should work really good. Alright. So now we'll desolder all this and remove that. Now you can see gasket or the rubber grommets or whatever. I don't know on this one if it had rubber grommets up front. I think it's just got that one. To double check it. I believe on the S-40B I had to put rubber grommets up in there. So anyway, let's see what kind of damage we can do here. Give her a little extra help here. Alright, we got everything unsoldered from the tuning capacitor. Basically there's two screws and a plate that hold it up here, and then it goes into this grommet here, so it just slides out. So a little gunky, but overall it seems to function okay. I think some quality time in the ultrasonic cleaner, and I think it'll clean up real nice. So we'll set that to the side. Alright, next, let's flip it around. And remove this section of the tuning part. That's just 3 screws. It removes like that. Now, I'll be real careful when I take this apart. I had a heck of a time getting the B put back together where it operate well. You can feel that's a little stiff there, I believe. So we'll get that cleaned up and lubed up, and that should work better. That flywheel just kills me. So we'll set that aside. And then we will go after these, which basically, after you unsolder the leads coming out of them, it's just 2 nuts on each side. Now I'm going to try to take a picture of these. So it's a little bit easier to put it back together. So I'll go ahead and do that. Try to take some detailed pictures. Shove that back into place and set it like that. Grab my trusty phone. Believe me, you can never have too many pictures of this stuff. Okay, we're going to start desoldering this one that's bent. Alright, fast forward here a little while. I went ahead and finished taking off the IF caps, or the IF transformers. Took out the cap that had been placed in here. This isn't correct cap. We'll go ahead and get a replacement for that. And took the transformer off. Transformer is slightly different than the one on the B. I think it's probably going to be in okay shape. Like I said, I'll take this off and media blast it and repaint it. And so basically, we're done with this stage. Next stage, I'll go ahead and get the chassis cleaned up. Hopefully we can go ahead and clean it up and not have to repaint it. Or do the best I can on that. And then we'll remount everything back on the top and turn it over. Check these caps, make sure they're the correct caps, so on and so forth. Replace the other caps, like this electrolytic is actually supposed to be in that so you hear something rattling around in there, so I'm sure that's dried out. This electrolytic goes, this will go, like I said. Not sure if that's original or what the deal is with that. We'll check on that. And then we're blowing this out. So, until next time, this is WD0DXD signing off.